Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most exciting, fast-moving, and frankly high-stakes topics of our entire modern era, artificial intelligence. We're looking at a deeply fascinating, dual-sided technology that is literally reshaping the globe right in front of our eyes. Understanding how it actually ticks is absolutely crucial. So let's get right into it.
Now, you probably already know the basics, right? I mean, have you asked Siri or Alexa to play your favorite song today? Or maybe you had them set a quick timer while you're brewing your morning coffee. We all do it. But to really grasp where this technology is going, we have to look way past those everyday conveniences. We need to understand the underlying engine that's driving this massive global shift.
Which brings us to Section 1. What is artificial intelligence?
Okay, let's dive into this. At its core, AI is powered by a remarkably elegant equation: computer science plus massive sets of data plus problem solving. It's like a giant superpowered puzzle. You take incredibly robust computing power, you feed it an absolute ocean of information, and then you program it to solve very specific problems. That deceptively simple recipe is the ultimate engine powering the modern world. And when we apply that equation to automation, the sheer scale of what it can do becomes crystal clear. It's wild to think about, but the exact same underlying principles govern both the completely mundane and the absolutely extraordinary. On one hand, you've got machine learning and voice recognition automatically handling your routine customer service calls. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you have high-stakes robotics engineered to safely mix volatile, toxic chemicals or even pilot a multi-billion-dollar space vehicle programmed to literally land on the surface of Mars. Moving right along to Section 2, the 3 tiers of AI. The evolution of this technology isn't just a random sprint. It actually builds across 3 very distinct steps. We go from ANI up to AGI and ultimately to ASI. Let's break those down. First up, we have artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI. Guys, this is our current reality. The automation we just talked about, the voice recognition in your phone, those customer service bots, the Mars rover, these are all prime examples of ANI. We call it narrow because it's designed and trained to execute one specific, highly specialized task. It does that single thing flawlessly, but you know what? It simply cannot think outside of its specific programming. It's brilliant, but it stays in its lane. Next is Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI. Now, this represents a monumental milestone for human history. At this stage, a computer wouldn't just be limited to one narrow task anymore. It could dynamically make decisions, plan ahead, and adapt to multiple diverse problems. It would function incredibly similarly to the human brain. And experts widely believe this dynamic adaptability is exactly the direction AI is headed right now, even if we aren't quite there just yet. Finally, we reach Artificial Super Intelligence, or ASI. Okay, quick reality check. Currently, this is purely theoretical. It is not based on real life, but the thought behind ASI is absolutely staggering. This is the stage where the cognitive ability of computers would actually exceed the total intelligence of humans. The concept of a machine entirely surpassing the entire capacity of the human mind? That is a wild, wild idea to try and wrap your head around. All right, let's shift gears a bit. Section 3, the bright side, pros. When analyzing our source material, it becomes immediately clear that there's a profound duality to this technology. There is a deeply ingrained helpful versus harmful dynamic going on. Making an informed decision means objectively weighing the glowing positives against some very distinct negative consequences. So let's start by looking at that helpful side. The benefits of AI go way, way beyond mere convenience. We're not just talking about saving time by streamlining and automating boring, repetitive tasks. We're talking about literally saving human lives by letting machines take over those highly hazardous, dangerous jobs. When you combine that with minimized human error and the ability to spark entirely new technological discoveries by rapidly processing complex data, it becomes incredibly compelling. And this brilliantly illustrates how AI acts as a deeply powerful tool for human advancement. But we have to look at the flip side. Section 4, the dark side, cons. The very first major consequence we have to confront is the sheer financial barrier. AI is not cheap, folks. In fact, it requires billions, yes, billions of dollars, just to fund the necessary research, development, and that massive baseline infrastructure. But hey, the costs aren't exclusively financial. So, the crucial point is that we must recognize the massive physical and environmental toll required to maintain this digital ecosystem. AI relies on immense server farms. These physical data centers take up tremendous physical space, and they demand staggering amounts of electricity and water resources just to keep the machines cool and operational. It is a very real and, honestly, very heavy drain on our planet's resources.
And beyond the environment, we face a really complex chain reaction of economic and security dilemmas. There's the very real economic threat of non-hazardous human job loss as everyday corporate routines get automated. We're also seeing the continuous plagiarism of human-created art and online content as these algorithms just scrape the internet for data without permission. Factor in the massive new cybersecurity vulnerabilities and threats from hackers, and, well, it becomes pretty clear just how heavy the side of the scale truly is.
Which brings us to Section 5, your AI future. As we look ahead at exactly where this technology is taking us, I want to do a quick knowledge check to ground ourselves in reality. True or false, as of today, ASI, that artificial superintelligence, is purely theoretical. Got your answer? If you said true, you nailed it. The concept of a machine exceeding human intellect is, as of right now, still just a theory.
Okay, let's try one more. Fill in the blank. Currently, the AI we actually use today is ANI, which stands for artificial what? That's right, narrow, artificial narrow intelligence. Despite its unbelievable processing power, the tech we currently deploy is heavily focused on those specific, highly specialized tasks.
So, as a mental check, can you name one pro and one con of AI right now? As we balance this incredible ability to save human lives against the staggering environmental costs and economic disruptions, keeping both sides of this equation in your mind is honestly the only way to truly understand the trajectory we are all currently on. Which leads us to this incredibly powerful, inescapable takeaway from our source material. Whether you think that AI is helpful or harmful, it is here to stay. It's completely integrated into our daily lives, and its evolution toward general intelligence? That's inevitable. As this technology rapidly expands, consuming vast resources while simultaneously solving some of our greatest problems, society is going to desperately need guidance. So I'll leave you with this. Will you be the innovator who steps up to find a truly helpful, ethical way to use AI for our future? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep asking the big questions.